1989, and we're here interviewing Alvin Schaeffer, our neighbor here on the farm for all my life. I just brought him a plaque which is from the A.S. Gibbons chapter, FFA chapter. His name is on the charter list of members here, which is 60 years ago. He was just honored at our FFA banquet, so I was here to bring the copy of the charter to him. And I thought it'd be fun if Alvin could say a few comments about his high school days. Got any thoughts, Alvin?
Well, when I started high school, all we had was the original building, and the next year they added gym, assembly, and agricultural room, and the office and the typewriting room. Our agricultural room was in the basement, which was afterwards used as the music room. My first year we had the room at the top of the stairs, small room right above the entry. It was very small. But
was there very many kids in your class in school at that time?
I don't remember how many there was. I know when I graduated, there was about 27 students graduated. But I would go a year and then I'd stay home, and so I started in 27 and I didn't graduate until 33. And I only went just a little less than 4 years, because I went one what they call short term, that because I was helping on the farm, put in the crop, and then in the spring and in the fall I helped with the harvest.
The ag school, was the ag school starting later in the fall in other schools then, and having a spring's vacation and so forth like they
yes,
did?
They were the same in that way as they were in later years. They continued that all the time until after the Maddock school, you might say, district was formed. But we had the school on Saturday to make up the extra time.
And what's interesting now is that all Alvin's kids graduated from the same school in later years.
All 6 of them. First year, that was before that I went, we didn't have FHA. They had 4-H.
Did your folks have their house in town at that time yet, or not?
Not, we lived in a rented place the first year, and afterwards we built. When we owned the house, but it was rented out.
When did you start that hospital services in your folks' house there?
I don't remember what year it was. That time I had in the 30s there. You remember, Jean?
What?
When we started the hospital?
1934.
1934. That's why,
You took a
Moved.
postgraduate course that year.
yeah. I moved up there and mother and I, and we run that. Dad and Bill stayed on the farm. And we had the house on the place where Slater built. Just to the east of the one we now own.
Being you had two houses in town at one time, was one for, did you live in one then and had the other one as a hospital, or how?
Well,
we kept the old people.
we had, we started as a maternity place. And we had a few old folks, and then we didn't really have enough room for everything, so after I got married, we moved over into the new house and took the old folks, took care of the old folks.
We had picture boxes and
Yeah.
An interesting comment here Gene just made was that just the clothes washing at that time was quite an item without either running water or sewer.
Yeah. We had to wash about every day and hang them out. Because they didn't use these throwaway diapers. You had to cloth.
Change it all around, and inspectors came.
And of course, every day the beds had to be all changed and everything washed.
Do you remember about when your folks came up here to farm?
Well, my
1898.
Say, Gene, you should come in here and sit beside Alvin here so we get your picture.
yeah.
They came.
Come on in here,
Gene.
Gene.
To North Dakota, to Pleasant Lake. Grandma had relatives at Pleasant Lake.
Why don't you come in here and sit by Alvin so you can answer a few questions for me.
Sit here and read the book.
They went to Oberon then, was the only school that they knew of around that Grandma, his mother could go to school. So they moved to Oberon so she could go to school.
So
They
she could
stayed
finish
there.
her 8th grade.
Yeah, they stayed there till she finished her 8th grade. And then they came and lived right across from your folks over there.
Alvin and Gene were just showing a letter here that was, what was the date on that old letter that you had here?
July the 9th, 1839.
That's
150 years.
That is really a treasure. I've never seen one that old before in this area.
Yeah.
And Gene, you want to tell us that how your folks moved up here or
Well,
settled in the area here too?
My dad was working in the lumber camps in Michigan, Saginaw, Michigan. He came to Saginaw, Michigan, and
This was Millens now.
yeah,
Right?
And they went on strike. So then they heard about this here big land deal in North Dakota. So three brothers head out for North Dakota. They came to Devil's Lake. And they rode the Mini H over to Minnewacan, and then they walked from Minnewacan all the way over to this territory, which was called the Antelope Valley at that time.
Okay, that was an interesting comment because we had some postcards at home saying Antelope Valley near Maddock, and we didn't have no idea where that was at.
Yeah, that was
Would that be
around
like
here.
through Scott's and Norheim's in through there?
Yeah,
Well,
all
that's the
through
first.
there,
That's the
yeah.
first time I heard an explanation of that.
Oh, yeah. My dad always called it the Antelope Valley.
That was
Yeah,
interesting.
he did. And their nearest town was Oberon. And sometimes they walked all the way to Oberon and got their groceries and carried them all the way home from Oberon. So that was because they didn't want to, they used their horses for in the field and that, and so they didn't want to use their horses too much, so they just walked.
Yeah, that's interesting. And then later years, you're mentioning that your dad moved on to Canada.
1901. The railroad was just going through. It was just about to Maddock, he said. It wasn't quite to Maddock yet when he left. So Maddock really wasn't a town yet when he left.
Well, in the early days, Flora was a lot bigger town than Maddock was.
Oh, yeah.
Until after Rube Barnard moved to Maddock, then Flora disappeared, you might say, and Maddock grew. He was, to our opinion, it was that he was the one that made Maddock. He was always working for the city.
Yeah, a promoter makes things work. I used to hear that whoever owned most of the property at Flora wanted to charge too much money for the property, so people decided to move to Maddock to build.
Well,
Rube Barnard had a livery stable in a hotel in Flora before he went to Maddock. He lived in Flora before he went to Maddock.
he was the main one in Flora there. But as I say, and he was the one that always working to build up whatever town he was in.
Oh yeah.
Like he had a livery place in Maddock and the hotel and the theater and a cafe, the nicest cafe in town all the time, and he would go to Minneapolis or Twin Cities every once in a while and get ideas to remodel and fix up, make it nicer. So he was always working for the city.
Yeah.
He was the one that more or less started the park that they have now. He owned a lot of that property and planted a lot of trees on it.
Yeah, that was a popular, familiar name in Maddock, Barnard, so I don't know much about him, but they had a lot
They
of...
were